Welcome to MoTorque, the program where we bring you cars, bikes, adventure, classics, motorsport, and indeed whatever wheels that have torque. Here's a quick look at what we have in store for you this week. The Japanese giants Honda give us the keys to their new SUV, the latest iteration of the CR-V. We join a riding legend to check out some new two-wheeled machinery in the shape of the Honda XR125. And we bring you exclusive coverage from the first round of the Pannala Speed Championship 2013. The Honda CR-V has always set the bar in the soft-roader market. So when MoTorque got a hold of it, we had high expectations. So then Sajeev, over to you.
Inside the CR-V, you get typical Honda quality and materials. Everything you can touch and see is made of high quality plastic, and nothing feels cheap or poorly assembled. Shut lines are good, the space between each panel is exactly right, and everything seems well judged and assembled by people who knew what they were doing. From the driver's seat, everything is laid out just right, be it the radio controls, the climate controls, the controls on the steering wheel, window switches, seat switches, transmission, and everything that you can think of, everything that you need to make a comfortable drive is laid out just right. This is again typical of the way Honda designs things. Nothing is out of place and everything is just where you'd expect it to be. Now as for the driving position, since Honda knows that CR-Vs are driven by all kinds of people, from 6-foot athletes to 5-foot housewives, they've designed a driving position that can be tailored just right so anyone basically can fit. The range of adjustment from the electric driver's seat is massive. You can go from almost sitting on the floor to a very car-like driving position, all the way up to the traditional SUV command position as it's called. It's not just passengers up front who get a full level of comfort. Even back here, as you can see, there's plenty of space. Leg space is excellent, and so is shoulder space and headroom. When you fold the armrest down, you can carry 4 people in superb comfort. But unlike some other SUVs, if you put it up, there's actually enough space for 3 normal-sized people to sit across and be comfortable. So you can say that the CR-V treats both front and rear passengers with the same level of respect and gives them the same level of comfort, something that's pretty rare to find. So now we've established that this new CR-V is really good for passengers. But what about carrying your stuff? I mean, this is marketed as primarily a family vehicle, and it has to be able to carry everything that a family might need. So does it have the space? Yes, indeed it does. I mean, look at the size of this. You can almost fit yourself into this boot. Actually, you can fit yourself into this boot. There's enough space to carry 2 people back here. Not that that's recommended, of course. But if you're carrying luggage, you can put several large suitcases without any problem at all. And if you're carrying awkward loads, you've got hooks and tie-down points and everything you need to make sure it doesn't move around. Say you have a long load and you want to move the seats forward and fold them down. Now normally this would be a real process, going forward, folding seats, removing headrests, but not in the CR-V. Just pull this handle there, push forward, in one motion you've got a flat load floor. So really what all this shows is that Honda has put a lot of thought into how people, families and people really use their vehicles, and they've designed the CR-V to be as useful as possible to as many people as possible. Since the primary purpose of the CR-V is a comfortable family car, it's really good when you're doing everyday stuff like going around town, maneuvering around tight parking spaces, or being stuck in traffic. It's quiet, it's quite well insulated, and it's comfortable. The only slight downside is that the ride is maybe a little bit on the firm side, but it's certainly not a deal breaker. The steering is light, it's easy to maneuver, and because of its fairly compact size, you can see all of the corners and place it on the road really nicely. So just like everything else about the CR-V, the driving experience is also tailored towards being easy and smooth. Even when you're maneuvering, the standard reverse camera helps you to park this vehicle and move it around without any trouble at all. And in keeping with Honda's current focus towards being economical, well, actually it's not just Honda but every car maker, the CR-V has been given things like a special eco mode that turns down the throttle response and tunes the automatic transmission for maximum efficiency. They say that you should be able to see at least 9 to 10 kilometers a litre in the city if you drive carefully enough, which is quite decent for something of this size with a 2-litre engine. Now the transmission is an automatic with no manual mode and no option to shift yourself other than just locking it into the gears. So that's not a good start. But you do find that the standard transmission and the standard settings are good enough to help you get around fairly quickly. This is a heavy vehicle, so the 2-litre engine is not going to give it a lot of pace. And even if you really put your foot down, there's not a lot of acceleration on hand. But it's more than enough for any regular kind of driving. And generally, the CR-V just about has enough power in reserve for outstation driving, quick overtakes, and so on.
We don't need each other now. The creed of the culture. You don't have my love and soul.
The engine may have just about enough power to get the CR-V moving and keep it moving at highway speeds, but in no way is it really enthusiastic. It may be a VTEC unit, but it doesn't have that enthusiasm to rev that older Honda VTECs have. The 4-wheel drive system and the suspension are all competent, they are well tuned, but they just won't encourage you to have fun. If you push through a corner, the CR-V will get through without any drama or any issue or threatening to fall off the road, but it doesn't ever give you the impression that it's enjoying itself. If you look at the exterior of the new CR-V, it's clear that Honda have tried to follow the same design themes as you can see in the new Civic, the Accord and so on. Big headlights, a bold Honda badge on the grille, and generally curvy and swooping form. So what's the verdict on the new CR-V? Well, it's comfortable and extremely practical, and a very good vehicle for a family. But the price bracket that it competes in is extremely competitive with so many talented vehicles. The CR-V is quite good, but then it needs to be.
Welcome to the motorcycle segment of MoTorque. Today we are looking at the XR125 trail model from Honda. Honda is a motorcycle company that was started about almost 7 decades ago, and from that time back in 1946 in Japan, Honda has been very closely monitoring the market, providing the right designs for the right market. And here today we have from Honda and through Stafford Motors, the local distributor, the first Honda motocross motorcycle out of China. This bike is the XR125L. This is basically a very simple but high technology motorcycle with special features on it. For instance, it has special cooling of the spark plug. You know, that is the part of the bike, part of the engine that gets heated most. So there's a special cooling effect through the fins. And the throttle has a special control in this black box here, which balances out according to the throttle opening and closing, giving the right amount of spark, giving the right amount of mixture to the engine. Also the front disc brake, which is not all that common on small capacity motocross machines, but standard on this 125 XR. The chain is also special roller type chain It prevents the engine from applying too much pressure on the chain, and no pull on the chain, no extra pull. And it also protects the chain from water and mud, which is where this bike is supposed to spend much of its time. To describe the special features of this bike, we have a very special rider, and he is the official race rider on the Honda team in Sri Lanka. Motocross is none other than Gayan Sandaruwan. Gayan, thank you for being with us today, Gayan. And I see you come on a lovely motorcycle, XR125, which we will be discussing in a short while. And folks, let me introduce Gayan Sandaruwan to you. Wherever motocross racing in Sri Lanka is well known, so is Gayan Sandaruwan. Gayan started motocross racing back in the year 2001, and he has been Foxhill champion 6 times, and the Slada national motocross champion 8 times, and he's won motocross races at almost all the circuits in Sri Lanka. He's also the brand ambassador for Honda motorcycles, and he works closely with Stafford Motors Limited, the distributors for the Honda XR125, which we are featuring today. Gayan, now in your career of motocrossing, you have ridden so many different models of Honda, I believe. What is your impression of this XR125 Honda?
I have ridden XR 650s and 250s, 400s for some competitions, and this is a new bike, Honda XR125, and this feels good, even gear shifting and everything, and feels the same.
Gayan, I have noticed that on this XR125 from Honda, there are some new features.
Yeah, I have seen those 3 main features, because the air intakes to the engine, it just cooling the engine so quickly. That means the engine it keep the performance every time, because this is a air cooled machine. That's a special feature, and it's very needful. And if it is a O-ring chain, so it's really strong, you know. When we ride on rough road, and when we go on up country and really rough muddy road, and it's just strong and it won't break on any occasion. And the other part is that the carburetor part, it just keep the bike very smooth.
You have always been riding CRF Hondas, and you have never switched over from Honda to any other bike.
Yeah, exactly.
May I ask why?
Yeah, I started racing in 2001. I rode this Honda CRM 80cc. Until now I ride Honda. Main thing that I see is it gives less trouble, and you can trust the engine, you can trust the machine. You know, when we race, we need to have the machine perfect and the man perfect. So it's a man and machine game.
The Honda CRF is your regular competition bike, and that's a really state-of-the-art, highly researched and well-designed motorcycle.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Honda XR125 can be a good bike for a beginner coming into motocross?
I think if someone is going to begin some off-road stuff and off-road racing, this is a good bike for practices and all. So you can use it. They have only to change tires. I think you change tires and use some off-road tires, and just they can just have fun.
Thank you very much, Gayan. Folks, this is Gayan Sandaruwan once again, champion motocross rider. And your next race, Gayan?
Yeah, I'm competing the Foxhill Supercross and Gajaban all races in Sri Lanka, and I especially want to thank for the support which gives the Honda by the Honda company, Stafford Motor company, and that's a huge favor for my racing career.
Thank you, Gayan. So we wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
The
usual 2-year 30,000 km warranty from Stafford Motors covers the 380,000 rupee XR125. The dual-use XR stands for off-road adventure and bags of fun.
Pannala has long been one of the most revered racing circuits in Sri Lanka, meeting international standards and being the venue for many motor racing events held in the island. Annually, 3 rounds are held at this venue, all forming part of the hotly contested SLAS Tarmac Championship. Not only was this the first round of the Speed Championship, but it was also the first round of the local 2013 motorsports calendar. The off-season had given drivers and riders plenty of time to regroup and launch their renewed challenges, and Pannala was without a doubt where first impressions would be made. One of the most anticipated events of the new 2013 season was the Formula McLaren's 1300 event, where new hopefuls stepping up from go-karting are given the chance to enter the single-seat championship. It must be said that the transition from karting to piloting these machines is by no means an easy one. The speeds that these cars are capable of is far greater, as to other risks. We're talking about back-to-basics motor racing with heavy clutches, no power steering, no ABS, and no traction control. They even do without servo-assisted brakes. With this in mind, it was a true pleasure to see the amount of talent on offer, with the youngest racer being just 13 years of age. The podium for race 1 and 2 stayed the same, however, with winner Amir Ghafoor controlling the pack from the off. Behind him was Liam Lawrence and Kyle Crossland, finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively. Another very competitive race series is without a doubt the SLH category. Featuring a flock of Honda Civics, mostly EGs and EKs, it was always going to be a tough fight for the checkered flag, with the talents of Sajjad Zuhair, Ashan Silva and Dilan Senaviratne all occupying the top 3 places of the starting grid. After getting off to a promising start, Sajjad's machine developed a problem in the opening laps, and it wasn't long until his car was stranded on the start-finish straight, leaving the other easy racing driver to single-handedly fly the team flag. And fly the flag he did. Dilan managed to overtake last year's champion, Ashan Silva, and was able to hold him off, which meant another win in the bag for easy racing. Let's not forget that there were many motorcycle events held too, one of which being the Super Motard event, which featured the veteran rider Ananda Wedisinghe. He managed to comfortably stamp his authority on the class yet again. The Ford Lasers were again an event to watch, especially the 1300 class, where last year Sushantha Gunawardena had a very scary moment as his car ran off the track and flipped over. This year though, things went a bit smoother for him, as he ran away with the lead and claimed victory. The Nissan Marches also never failed to put on a good show, with both novices and experienced competitors taking part in a class that never fails to provide its fair share of drama, witnessed here in dramatic form. Finally, the highlight of any local racing event, the SOGT class, featuring turbo-powered 4-wheel drive monsters from the powerhouses of Subaru and Mitsubishi. Ashan Silva and Dilan Senaviratne were favourites for the win, especially after their strong showing in the earlier SLH race. Lining up just behind them was Kaushalya Samarasinghe after a very impressive qualifying session. However, other notable names such as Dinesh Dehurugoda, Pasandu Piris, Abith Tangala, Darren Weerasinghe and Janaka Dias were surprisingly absent. Dinesh Jayawardena was able to work his way up to third place as Kaushalia's car encountered transmission issues. Meanwhile, at the head of the field was Ashan and Dilan. Ashan had a bit of a scare when halfway through the race, a brake issue caused an unexpected spin whilst he was vying for the lead. Still unfazed, Ashan battled on to eventually take the lead with only a few laps remaining and ultimately won the race. And so there you have it, all the action from Pannala.
Something you may not be aware of is that Sri Lankan driving conditions are considered by most motor vehicle manufacturers to be extreme. This is because we drive with a lot of dust, a lot of heat, and a lot of time spent idling in traffic jams. All of these things are not conducive towards engines running well. In addition to all of that, the quality of our fuel is simply not quite up to the standards that you get in the rest of the world. That also contributes to the detriment of engine performance. So, to overcome these particular problems, we need to look for solutions. And as usual, we have Worth Lanka here and Suranga from Worth Lanka to give us some solutions to this problem.
If you take EFI, petrol EFI engine, now you can see in this chart, so when there are deposit and sulfur in the fuel, say petrol, so there will be some problem in the intake valve.
Okay.
So there will be some deposits.
Right, and it causes these problems.
These problems
Power
and
loss
power loss. So so that would be one problem in your vehicle. And if you take diesel engine and C10 based EFI system, so there will be problem like these deposits, and it has to be clean, and the fuel pumping pressure.
So Suranga, the problem is quite clear and you've explained it pretty clearly, but what is the solution? Do you have a product that can fix
Yes. From Worth, we have a special product called additives.
Okay.
Normally when we have a problem like this, so we always recommend to put the additive.
To your fuel.
So we have petrol additive and the diesel additive. So this is where the additives are necessary. Normally if you put extraordinary loads, so it's a cause of the symptoms of wear and tear. So there should be a prevention.
So what are the additional benefits other than prevention and sort of regulating these effects? What are the total benefits package that you get from adding additives?
There are a lot of benefits you can get out of these two products. Immediate cleaning of entire injection system and enhance the functionality of the injection system, eliminates problem in starting the engine and reduces the fuel consumption.
Well, that wraps up our Worth top tip for this week.